Ontario, Canada, a land of opportunity, or so it seemed. The middle class, once the bedrock of society, now faces a crisis. The cost of living has skyrocketed, leaving many struggling to stay afloat. Housing costs have reached astronomical levels. In Toronto, a one-bedroom apartment averages $2,495 per month, a two-bedroom nearly $3,300. These figures represent a significant portion of an average family's income. The financial strain doesn't end with housing. Groceries, essential for survival, have become a luxury. A single person spends approximately $430 per month on food, while couples face a staggering $699 bill. Utilities, the hidden costs of living, add further pressure. Electricity, water, and heat consume an average of $309 per month. Transportation, another necessity, adds $156 for a monthly transit pass in Toronto. The weight of these expenses bears down on Ontario's middle class. The average household income after taxes is approximately $6,625 per month. After deducting housing, groceries, utilities, and transportation, a mere $2,966 remains for childcare, healthcare, education, and emergencies. It's a constant battle to make ends meet. Amidst this economic storm, a beacon of hope emerges: spiritual eco-villages. Imagine a life where the air is clean, food is grown locally, and community thrives. So eco-villages offer a path towards sustainability and a brighter future. These self-sufficient communities operate on principles of simplicity, self-sufficiency, and shared purpose. In these villages, land is respected and nurtured. Organic farming practices ensure food security for all members. Vegetables and fruits are cultivated with care, providing nourishment and fostering a deep connection to nature. Meditation and yoga become integral parts of daily life, offering solace and promoting well-being. These practices help individuals cope with stress and find inner peace. The heart of the eco-village beats with compassion and a commitment to healing. A vibrant healing center provides support through ancient practices like Ayurveda and counseling. It's a space for rejuvenation and rediscovering balance in life. Renewable energy sources such as solar panels and wind turbines power the village. This self-sufficiency reduces reliance on traditional energy sources and promotes environmental sustainability. The dream of owning a home in Ontario is fading into a distant memory. The relentless climb of housing costs has placed immense pressure on families. In Toronto, finding affordable housing has become an arduous quest. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment has soared to $2,495 per month. For those seeking more space, the situation grows even more dire. Two-bedroom apartments command a staggering $3,300 per month. This cost devours a significant portion of household income, and the dream of a safe home is slipping out of reach. The consequences of this housing crisis are far-reaching. Families are forced to make agonizing decisions. Some are pushed to the brink of homelessness. The social fabric of Ontario is being stretched thin. The lack of affordable housing is a stark reminder of systemic issues. Government inaction and profit-driven developers have left countless families struggling to survive. The relentless surge in the cost of living extends beyond our homes, reaching into our kitchens. For many Ontarians, grocery prices are a source of constant anxiety. What was once a basic necessity is becoming a luxury, pushing families to the brink. The average single person in Ontario faces a monthly grocery bill of $430, consuming a significant portion of their income. For couples, the burden is even heavier, with an average monthly expenditure which is even higher. This represents a significant increase in recent years, outpacing wage growth and leaving many struggling to afford nutritious meals. The impact of these rising food costs is most acutely felt by low-income families, single parents, and seniors living on fixed incomes. They are forced to make difficult choices between putting food on the table and paying for other essential expenses like rent, utilities, and health care. This can lead to compromised nutrition, increased stress, and a decline in overall well-being. The rising cost of food is not merely an economic issue, it's a social justice issue. Access to affordable, nutritious food is a fundamental human right. And yet, in Ontario, it's becoming increasingly out of reach for far too many. The relentless assault on the middle class in Ontario extends beyond housing and food costs. Hidden beneath the surface lies the unseen burden of utilities. Essential services like electricity, water, and heat have become another financial drain. The average household spends $309 per month on utilities. This figure erodes their ability to make ends meet. The rising cost of energy has hit Ontarians hard. Families are forced to make difficult choices, sacrificing comfort to keep up. The unseen burden of utilities adds stress to Ontario's middle class. Ontario's middle class is trapped in a cycle of debt. Rising costs and stagnant wages widen the gap between income and expenses. Credit, once a solution, has become a dangerous trap with high interest rates. Families make agonizing choices, sacrificing long-term security for short-term relief. The stress of debt strains relationships and erodes well-being. Economic inequality plagues Ontario, squeezing the middle class. The relentless rise in the cost of living in Ontario has crippled the financial well-being of its middle class, eroding their dreams and aspirations. What was once attainable, a home, good education, secure retirement, now seems like an impossible fantasy. The middle class, once the embodiment of hope, now grapples with disillusionment and despair. The dream of homeownership is fading for many Ontarians. Soaring housing costs force families to rent, facing uncertainties and lack of security. The dream of building equity is slipping away. The erosion of dreams extends beyond material possessions. Rising education costs strain families, forcing difficult choices about their children's future. Providing a quality education is increasingly challenging. Student debt burdens young people before they enter the workforce. The middle class in Ontario is facing a crisis of hope. Dreams that once motivated them are being eroded by a system rigged against them. The promise of a better future is fading, replaced by uncertainty and fear for their children's dreams. Ontario's middle class is symptomatic of a system in crisis. The gap between the rich and the poor widens, squeezing the middle class. Fairness and opportunity are eroding, favoring the wealthy. The housing crisis, rising cost of living, and crushing debt are symptoms of deeper issues. Deregulation and profit pursuits erode social safety nets. The middle class is being left behind. Social cohesion frays as trust in institutions wanes. The status quo is unsustainable. Bold change is needed to restore fairness and hope. And a disconcerting trend is emerging in Ontario, a silent exodus of the very people who once formed the backbone of its society, the middle class. So they are leaving, not for greener pastures and far-off lands, but for more affordable provinces within their own country. This migration speaks volumes about the state of affairs in Ontario, a stark warning sign that the current trajectory is unsustainable. What is driving this exodus? The answer is multifaceted, a complex interplay of factors that have eroded the middle-class dream here. The soaring cost of living, driven by exorbitant housing prices and the ever-increasing cost of essentials, is a major factor. Families are finding it increasingly difficult to maintain their standard of living, let alone aspire for better. The lack of affordable housing is a significant driver of this migration. Families are priced out of the housing market, forced to choose between crippling mortgages or exorbitant rents that consume a large portion of their income. The dream of owning a home, once a cornerstone of middle-class aspiration, is slipping further out of reach. This exodus is not merely an economic issue, it's a social and cultural one. Ontario is losing its vibrancy, its diversity, and its sense of community as middle-class families are forced to uproot their lives in search of affordability. The very fabric of society is being stretched thin, threatening the social contract that once bound it together. The economic pressures faced by Ontario's middle class are not just reflected in bank balances and budget spreadsheets. They are also etched into the faces and psyches of those struggling to stay afloat. The relentless stress of making ends meet, the constant worry about housing, food, and education takes a heavy toll on mental health, an unseen cost that ripples through families and communities. The fear of losing one's home, the shame of not being able to provide for one's family, the despair of seeing one's dreams slip away. These are not merely emotions. They are triggers for anxiety, depression, and a host of other mental health challenges. The middle class, once a symbol of stability and resilience, is now grappling with a mental health crisis fueled by economic insecurity. The impact on children is particularly concerning. Growing up in households where finances are constantly strained can have long-term consequences on their mental and emotional well-being. They may experience anxiety, depression, behavioral problems, and difficulty in school, perpetuating a cycle of disadvantage. The mental health crisis among Ontario's middle class is a silent epidemic, often hidden behind closed doors and stoic facades. The stigma surrounding mental illness prevents many from seeking the help they need, leading to a vicious cycle of silence, shame, and suffering. In the face of rising costs, environmental challenges, and the struggles of modern society, creating an off-grid eco-village offers immense benefits, not just for individuals, but for entire communities. First, let's talk about energy independence. By utilizing solar, wind, and other renewable energy sources, an off-grid eco-village becomes self-sufficient, reducing our reliance on an overburdened and unsustainable energy grid. With energy prices constantly rising, this ensures security and stability for the long-term future of our community. Sustainability is at the heart of an off-grid eco-village. By growing our own food and using water filtration systems, we can eliminate dependence on external food suppliers and utilities. We create a space where food is abundant, healthy, and locally sourced, reducing both food insecurity and the carbon footprint. One of the most powerful benefits of an eco-village is the sense of community. When we live in close-knit groups, we're able to support each other on a deeper level, whether emotionally, spiritually, or physically. An eco-village focuses on mental health, offering space for meditation, yoga, and holistic healing practices that foster true wellness. Financial independence and resilience are also key. By establishing cooperatives and skill-sharing networks, we create a local economy that functions outside the constraints of traditional capitalism. This model offers an alternative to the ever-growing cost of living in urban areas, ensuring that basic needs are met without the crushing pressure of debt. In Ontario, homelessness continues to rise as housing costs soar. With an off-grid eco-village, we can provide a viable solution. By offering housing and support to those in need, we can make real, lasting change in the lives of individuals struggling with the cost of living, mental health challenges, or addiction. Our eco-village isn't just about human well-being, it's also about healing the planet. By adopting environmentally conscious practices, we reduce waste, conserve resources, and protect natural habitats. In a time when climate change is a pressing issue, our community serves as a beacon of hope for a more sustainable future. Finally, an off-grid eco-village offers a sustainable and nurturing environment for future generations. By teaching children the value of self-sufficiency, community, and environmental stewardship, we give them the tools they need to thrive in an uncertain world. The benefits of creating an off-grid eco-village are far-reaching. From energy independence and sustainability to community support, economic resilience, and environmental healing, this model provides a clear pathway out of the chaos of the current system. Together, we can create a space that fosters true wellness, security, and hope for the future.